All right, welcome everybody. We've got the video recording, so just to let you know, we will be posting this on our YouTube channel. How can you get to our YouTube channel? The easiest way for you all is just go to our website, sundogit.com. Scroll to the bottom, and you're going to see the social media link for YouTube. Just click on that, and it'll take you right to our YouTube channel, where you're going to find a wide variety of videos that we've been doing over the course of the last year plus. And there's just a lot of great information out there for you, but you can also forward it on to your staff. But most importantly, like I said, this video will be up there probably what, Josh, later today-ish?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So by tomorrow, you'll have it. And we'll also send out an email to everyone with a link to the video. So feel free to be able to share it to your staff. And when you go to our YouTube channel, if you don't mind, definitely hit subscribe and like, so we can get more traffic to that and share the information that we're sharing today. All right, first I wanted to introduce the topic. The topic today is the 5 hacks in Microsoft OneNote to optimize your documentation and reach your potential. Boy, that's a title. What it really means is we're just going to share a lot of the cool things about OneNote. So hopefully by the time you're done with this webinar, that you'll be power users of Microsoft OneNote and you can take advantage of it to be more productive, which is what I do on a personal and a professional basis all day, every day. I also want to introduce Josh Plaza. Josh is our marketing manager here at Sundog, and I'm Cohen Barnes, the president and CEO of Sundog. Real quick, if you have any questions, I love getting interrupted, and Josh will be monitoring the chat. But if you want to leave a question, just move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen, and you're going to see some icons at the bottom, and chat is one of them. Just type in whatever your question is, and we'll go ahead and answer that live. Hopefully I'll know the answer, but sometimes you all stump me. So if there is a question that I don't know the answer to, I'll make sure offline to find that answer and get it over to you. All right. Is that all I need to talk about, Josh, or can I get started?
Yep. Go ahead.
All right, beautiful. So let's get in there. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Yes. Boom. Share. All right. Josh, can you see my screen?
I can, in fact.
Fantastic. All right. So Microsoft OneNote. Microsoft OneNote is a tool that I utilize, as I mentioned, both personally and professionally. And what OneNote is, imagine, everyone has, or used to have, or maybe still does, some of you, has a notebook that you carry around with you and you write in notes. Could be maybe your calendar's in there and you write in stuff. Could be shopping lists, could be checklists, could be whatever it is that is a place that you want to take stuff out of your head and put it down somewhere. And it could be just for, going to the grocery store that night. All right, fine. That's perfect for it. But it also could be for stuff that is recurring, that you might deal with every day, every week, every month, or every year. And you don't want to lose track of it, and you want to build upon it. So I'm going to give you real world examples of my life in OneNote. And hopefully it's all going to be a webinar friendly, but hey, you know how that goes. All right. So I wanted to share with you, oh, and hey, you Microsoft Teams people, you can initiate all this from Teams as well. But that's another webinar for another day. So first I wanted to tell you how you create a OneNote notebook. It's really easy. One, if you click on your start button at the bottom left-hand corner, all of you with Microsoft Office have OneNote installed by default. So if you click on that icon in the bottom left, scroll down, you'll find OneNote. Go ahead and select that. If it says OneNote for Windows 10, I would highly recommend that you run and operate OneNote, not the Windows 10 version, because the Windows 10 version is like an app and it's a little bit stripped down, but it's still, you're going to have so much of the functionality that I'm showing you today in both versions of it. But what I'm going to show you today is actually the full version of Microsoft OneNote, which came with your Microsoft Office subscription. All right, so if you want to create a new one, once you open it up, you can go to File and then New, and you have the choice. You can create it in your OneDrive that is with your company, your personal OneDrive. If you have SharePoint as an organization, you can do it in SharePoint, or you can do it on your computer too. Whatever you want to do. And it's super simple. Let's say I wanted to create it in my personal OneDrive folder. I would just type in the notebook name. We'll call it Test Notebook. And I'd hit Create Notebook, and we've got one. But let me show you what got one actually means. So I'm going to show you, I have a home OneNote notebook. And if we look here, this pull down menu shows you just some of the different notebooks I have. If we go to open other notebooks, you're going to see I've got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of OneNote notebooks. But for keeping things in their appropriate silos, this is my home one. And I have a bunch of stuff like Christmas list of when I go hunting, the family annual plan that we have when we go skiing, when I used to be an adult leader in a scout troop, all my notes there. But for our purposes today, I'm going to show you my to-do list that I have in OneNote that if you look over here on the right, it shows winterize the house. So what this is every year, obviously winter comes and I need to winterize the house. There's certain things I need to do. And I created this OneNote notebook because every year this was happening, I was like, okay, let me think. What is it I need to do? And what I decided was I'll just put it in OneNote as a checklist. So you can see like clean the garages, right? I want to get it all cleaned up and ready because the snow is going to come off the cars and melt and get stuff wet. So I want to get everything off the floor. And I've just got a bunch of stuff. Obviously, buy salt for de-icing. That's important. Clean the fireplace because, of course, we're going to want some fires and stuff like that. But what's fascinating is imagine I've got this list and it's not fully built yet. And I keep adding to this as the years go by. But one year, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. In fact, you can see I created this in January 1st, 2015. And what it was, I was driving in my lawn tractor, and my lawn tractor has a plow on the front. It's how I plow my driveway. So I'm driving along, and all of a sudden it dies. It's out of gas. I'm like, and it's a massive snowstorm, right? So I get up, I go to the garage, grab the gas can. Guess what? Gas can was empty. So I'm a process guy, a prep guy. And what I did right then and there is on my cell phone, I opened up the OneNote app. Yes, there's an app for OneNote for your cell phone. I went to my home notebook. I went to the to-do list and I added fill lawn tractor with gas and fill gas can. Now, what's important about that, you may think that that's, well, who cares, Cohen? I mean, yeah, it's a checklist. Point and part of this is that'll never happen to me again now. So now every winter that comes along for this last 6 years, I have made sure that I filled the lawn tractor with gas and then I went to the gas station and refilled the canister because the last thing you want in a major snowstorm is not be able to plow your driveway or snow blow your driveway, right? So that was a cool thing that I do. And you can see I also have a de-winterize the house and I put the date April 1st is when I need to do that. And it's just a nice way that I can add stuff to a list and make sure that I'm prepared every winter and then every spring for what I need to do. And I mentioned I did that on my phone. That's what's important about OneNote. When you put it in OneDrive, when you create the OneNote there, or if you create it in Teams in your organization, that OneNote notebook, this thing we're looking at right now, is actually in the cloud. So my app on my cell phone, my computer here at work, my laptop that I have, my computer at home, all those devices that have OneNote that I log into with my username and password, all this information syncs across all of them. So you could be sitting anywhere and adding, like right now, especially life is really busy for me. And you can see I've got another to-do over here. I'm just adding stuff as I think about it. I'm just adding it as this, I don't want to forget. I got to make sure I do this. And what's beautiful about that is it takes it out of your head, puts it down somewhere that you have access to it anywhere that you go. And now it frees up some mind share, right? So I can focus on the task at hand and not be worried about all the stuff that I know I need to do. All right, enough on that. I want to show you Sundog real world OneNote. So in our organization, we have a sales team, we have a marketing team, and I'll show you marketing right now. And here's a perfect example of a weekly to-do. Cohen and Josh has a weekly to-do. So what this is every week from a marketing perspective, we both have tasks that we need to do to keep the machine going, right? But it's really neat that we created a procedure for our weekly checklist, so the weekly to-do that we need to do within marketing. And what I did is I documented everything that I need to do in here on a weekly basis. I added I've got a couple monthlies and quarterlies since I'm in here every week. It was like, well, let me just make sure I put that there. And this is a great place to capture that thing I have to do every quarter. But you'll see these are the daily or weekly things that I have to do. I have to update our marketing plan. I have to review our LinkedIn ads, Bing ads, Facebook ads, closer look as a campaign that we're doing. And I need to update our CRM and Fusionsoft. I need to go into our dashboard and update all of our KPIs, our key performance indicators. And what's neat about this is Josh has access to this as well because him and I are sharing this notebook, and I'll get to that in a second. So Josh's similar thing, right? Just different duties in there. That what's nice is if there's something that comes up and I need to make sure Josh has access to, that Josh does this thing, a new add-on on something I want him to do every week, I go ahead and just add it to that OneNote notebook. And he'll see that I added something. The reason he'll see it is if you look here, these JPs, well, that's Josh Plaza right there, wherever Josh is on your screen. This tells me that he was the one that updated these sections. Well, if I updated it and he logs in as him, he's going to see CV updated that section. He's going to see it's new and he's going to go there and he's going to check it out to see, hey, what's going on there? What does Cohen want me to do? And it's a nice way it flags new content that gets put into the OneNote notebook. But the beautiful thing is, him and I have agreed upon this is the place that we're going to put all of our stuff for marketing, and we're going to constantly be updating it and constantly referring to it. So, from a productivity standpoint, when we forget to do something one week, we add it to OneNote, and now we'll never forget about it again. And when you think about that, to have the step-by-step instructions like this, boy, from a productivity standpoint, I don't have to remember where everything is, where every file is, what field I need to modify, because I'm documenting that process here within OneNote. And again, it's available on my laptop, computer at work, computer at home, and on my phone, which is wonderful for when a global pandemic hit, right? I could be at home, laptop open, and I go to my weekly to-do list and I start going through that process no matter where I am in the world. But what's important is if you look here, you're going to see a whole slew of other stuff on the right, which I'm going to show you how to make these. But ultimately, this is all the different things in marketing that he and I have documented on how to do it. And it could be like here, you'll see online training, webinars, OneNote. And if I go there to the 7/21/2021, here's the email that went out as a reference point for me as I'm preparing for it. Here's the agenda that I want to cover, right? So I was able to just build that over time as cool things in OneNote were coming up. I was able to come here, document it, and now, right before this, I was able to review it and be prepared to be able to do this webinar. Now, imagine in your organization, all the people that have different procedures and different process that they need to follow, and they're documented in OneNote. And you as a manager, you as a business owner, executive director, whatever it may be, right? If you have people that are that you're responsible for, this is a great way to be able to document how things happen within your organization so it can constantly be updated and modified to make them current and productive. But then also, as people change roles in an organization, you've documented the entire process of what that role does. So the new person coming on, the onboarding and the training piece is so much easier because you're not reinventing the wheel. You've actually documented it, but you document it in a place that's in the cloud, safe and secure, and accessible no matter where people are. And again, after the global pandemic, it's very obvious why it's important to have as many things as we can cloud-based like this. Josh, are there any questions yet?
We did have one question
Yeah.
from Heather Faulkner. I went ahead and answered it though. How do you make the tabs go across the top instead of going down the side? You should be able to click view at the
Yep,
top.
yep. So let's I'm gonna cover that in the tab section. Plaza, don't let me off the hook on that one.
Gotcha.
And we should be able to show you how to do it, and hopefully I'll find it on the fly. But I agree, I like them at the top. All right, so that's our marketing notebook, and again, you can see everything that's over there. If I go to our sales notebook, so this is another department, right? Other people, but I like a lot of you wear multiple hats. So in my sales notebook, if I come over here, you're going to see on the right where we've documented everything you could imagine, from call scripts to different campaigns to cold calling stuff. How do you leave a voicemail? Anything that we're doing, 30-second commercials, post-sales activities. If you look here, this is just one tab, this playbook tab here, one tab, and this is all the information that our sales team takes out of their head, puts it down there, collaborates on, documents it, and then if it comes up again, we can go there, we can share, and we can collaborate on the information. And when we want to update something, we update it, and now it's there permanently for everybody. All right, moving on to, so I hope everyone, I hope this is making sense for you. And I'd be remiss if I didn't show you too. At the top here, you're going to see File, Home, Insert. If I click on Home, this is where it looks like just like Microsoft Word or Excel, right? They call this a ribbon, but this is where I can change font sizes, font types, you name it. This is where I could change this list here from bullet points to maybe a to-do tag. So now I can check things as I complete them, right? This is where you're going to get all your different options for formatting things, cool, quick access to like emailing the page. If I wanted to email this to someone really quick, it could be I'm collaborating with someone in another department that doesn't have access to it. Could be a peer that I want to send this page to. Could be when it's my to-do list. It could be to my spouse, right? I'm sending her, hey, is there anything else you want to make sure that I do next winter, kind of thing, or if it was a shopping list or whatever it might be. But here, if you go through each one of them, you're going to find a variety of options available to you, and a lot of different tools like being able to draw, right? If you wanted to, really show off your creative ability in one of your OneNotes, you can do that. But it also could be you're just documenting or scratching out or whatever it might be. And what's really cool on a laptop with a touchscreen, it's nice because you can just instantly draw, you can write, you can do whatever you need in order to make that happen. But the ultimate point is, I really encourage you all to just go one by one through these and check out what's available to you and play with them a little bit. And you're going to find there's a lot of tools available to you in OneNote that I'm not even going to have the time needed to be able to cover that today. All right, I just wanted to undo what I just did. All right, so sharing your notebook really quick. So let's say you're in the office, you've created a procedure on how to onboard a new employee, and you want to review it with HR, let's say. What you can do is if I come over here to file in the top left, I go to share, and I can just type in the email address of who I want to share this particular notebook with. And I hit share, sends it over to them. Now they have permission to it. And since the notebook is in the cloud, since they have permission to it, they now have access to that particular notebook on any device anywhere in the world, which is just really, really cool to be able to do. And I can require a user to sign in. So they have to have a Microsoft 365 account. Unchecking that, I think, is going to allow it where just about anyone can sign in. I can also set permissions where they can edit it, or you know what, I just want to be able to view it because I don't want Josh messing it up. He gets in there and he just starts deleting stuff and it's crazy. It just wreaks a ton of havoc. So I know Josh, so I'm going to set just to view. But that's a nice way to do it. You can also just send a link to someone if you wanted to. So a view link or an edit link. That's a quick way in an email just to be able to shoot it right off to them, be able to copy and paste it. Maybe it's in Teams and you want to copy and paste the link in the chat session, whatever it might be. But there's multiple ways to be able to share OneNote notebooks. All right. You can also, let me see if I can figure out, you can also share just individual tabs and notebooks themselves. So all those features are available in here because you might just want to share the marketing tab, and that's all that you want to do essentially. All right, so tabs and sections. This is going to come to what I think Heather was asking too, but first I wanted to cover at the top, when you first create a brand new notebook, let me go to test notebook. So if you look here, this is a brand new notebook I created, and webinar is my only tab at the top. And on the right is the page agenda. So what's important about this is how you kind of organize yourself within Microsoft OneNote. Imagine the notebook is a file cabinet, right? The tabs at the top are drawers, and the pages over here on the right are the files. So if that's a way to visualize how this actually works, the structure behind it, that might be helpful. So what you can do, if you noticed on my other notebooks that I had a bunch of tabs at the top. So in here, I could do, you know what, I want webinar, and I'm going to have the agenda be its own tab because maybe I'm going to have agendas for every one of the OneNote webinars that I'm going to do. So I'm going to have a bunch of pages over here on the right that I'm going to list out. And then I might have a new section, which is questions, right, from attendees. So I want to document all the questions for attendees. And the reason I do these tabs, right, these are the file drawers. So again, questions from attendees, maybe I'll have a file over here on the right, a page for each one of the questions, so I can document them separately. So all what you do to create a new tab is click on the plus like I was doing, which is called a section. So create a new section. And then if I want to create a new file, a new page, you can see the plus sign right in front of add page, and you click on it. To put in the title, all what you do is type here. I should put something good, title. And you notice it updates on the right. Hopefully you can see that. It says title over there. So that's a way, if I shoot you back to Marketing Team Notebook, look at all the different tabs we have at the top and all the different pages, files that we have on the right side. That's how you can organize them.
Cohen,
Josh?
we have a good question here from
Yeah,
another one from Heather. How many steps can you have within the tab page um, kind of realm? Like, does it go? How far does the rabbit hole go?
that's great. Oh, so that might be a twofold question. One, let me go back to my test notebook. So we have our tabs at the top, the sections at the top. And let me show you something really quick. I'm going to create a new section group. Because imagine if you had a ton of sections, tabs at the top. Well, at some point you run out of computer monitor space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new section group. What this does is I can go under the new section group, says there aren't any sections here, and I can create a subsection. You see this little arrow? I'm pointing to it like you can see me pointing. There's a little arrow over here that shows it's going up. If I click on that, it's going to bring me up out of that new section group and back to my main section group, right? Why do you do this? So like I said, you might have it where you have so many tabs at the top that you want to start consolidating stuff. So the new section group, I'm going to right click on it, rename. I'm going to call it archive because this is what I do a lot of. So over time, I've been using OneNote. You've seen for, I showed you one that was 6 years old. I bet I've got some that are 10 years old. I collect a lot of stuff, but sometimes I don't want to just delete it. I want to save it because I'm not sure I ever need it, but I don't need it to always be prominently displayed at the top. So what I'll do, let's say questions from attendees is one that I wanted to archive. I want to put it somewhere. All I do is I left click on questions from attendees and I come over here, I drag and I drop on top of archive. And now questions from top attendees went down a group, right, into archive, and it's there if I ever need it. If I pop back up, I know if I ever want to go into archive and look for something, I can just click on it and there's my questions from attendees. So that's a way to organize the tabs at the top. And you could continue to rabbit hole here to your point. So you can go subsection, subsection, subsection. I'm sure at some point there's a limit, but I don't know what it is because I've never hit it. But then what she may be referring to too, just to make sure, is over on the right. And the reason I'm wondering if you guys are going to be able to see it, I hope in the recording, sometimes it puts the video over there and it blocks it, which is a real pain. So I'm just going to add a few pages just to drop it down past the video that I know is going to be there. But if I had a page, okay, let's call it webinar agendas, right? And then I want to create a webinar agenda. So I want to create one for 7/21/2021. Awesome. But it's not grouped well. So what you have the ability to do in OneNote is with my right mouse button, I can click on this page over on the right. I can right click on it and I can make it a sub page. So what's really cool about that is, let me do another one, right? So let me do and let's just say this was from last month. Let's do 6/21/2021. I can right click on that and make it a sub page. So if you notice, you have webinar agendas and then you have two sub pages below it. If I move my mouse and just hover over webinar agendas, you see that caret right there, the arrow? If I click on that, it collapsed it. That is so cool because let me hop back over to Marketing Team Notebook. You see all these pages that we have? Well, for online training, I don't want to see all that. So what if I just start collapsing all my OneNote notebooks? Now it's much more readable to be able to find the information that I want. And I can go a couple in there, to your point, Heather. If I wanted to create one more page, we'll call this topics. And I right click subpage and I right click subpage. That's as far as I can go. So I can only go too deep essentially in my subpages. If I collapse, it'll collapse them all, which is beautiful, but that's the limitation. So Heather, I don't know if that answered your question. The sections, the tabs at the top, I think you can go a long way, but the pages on the right, you can only do two subsections. I haven't had a need to really go 3 subsections at this point. I mean, you're getting pretty crazy, but depending on how much you're documenting, you may want to, and then maybe OneNote isn't going to meet your need. But I think you're going to be fine with the 2 subsections and being able to click on that caret and collapse them. All right, geez, I got to move along here because we try and keep these to a half hour. So I want to give you another tip. But first, Josh, is there any more questions?
Nope, we're good.
Okay,
Go,
good,
go.
good. And I want to leave a little time for Q&A at the end, hopefully. So what I'm just going to quickly cover while I'm here, I guess, if I wanted to get rid of something, like let's say I just want to delete the 621 webinar, if I right click on that with my right mouse button, always pay attention to the different options that are available, but I can just, for this purposes, just select delete, gone. So that's really cool to be able to do that. I can also move, like, let's say I'm in a notebook that's my own and I was working on this agenda, but I wasn't ready to move it to the marketing team's notebook yet. Once I am done, if I right click on 7/21/2021, if you look, it's move or copy. And it asks me, I can move that page to any one of the notebooks, any one of the sections, any one of the subsections that I've created. And it's a cool way. You don't have to copy and paste. It's a cool way just to transfer pages between various documents or various notebooks that are out there. You can also do the same thing with the tabs at the top, the sections at the top. All right, so one thing I wanted to show you all, imagine in here, I've got my process for typing in a webinar. And I've got a bunch of instructions, but you know what? I was on the internet and I saw this really cool PDF that has a lot of information about the process for typing in a webinar. What I can do is on my desktop, you can't see it, but I've got a PDF. I'm just going to drag with my left mouse button this PDF over onto my screen. I'm going to let go. And it's going to ask me, and Josh, can you see the attached file insert printout? Perfect.
Yeah.
So it wants to know what I want to do. I can say, I want to attach file. So there's the PDF. So now whenever someone comes to that notebook and this page, they can just double click on that PDF and they have access to it. So it's a really cool place to dump some files. But then you also have the option, let me see if this is going to work, to insert printout. So when I do that, it automatically printed the PDF, right? And printed it out within that page, which is really, really cool to be able to do. You can do that with Word documents. Here's a Word document. I'll attach a file, or if I want to print it out, I insert the printout. And I don't know if I'm going to wait for that to do that. I'm probably just going to cancel. I didn't realize that was so big. And then I got to close it out. There we go. And then also you could do graphics. So you can do pictures. Look at that handsome guy. So let's say I can move this around and I can move my PDFs down here, right? I could get really organized in the way I want things to be able to be displayed. And where I'm typing, I could even move that over here. And then I've got this section available to me, right, to add more content and information. You can also, one thing that's really important, I love, is I'm going to go to my agenda and this home notebook. If I drag my mouse over it and highlight it and right click, I can't say enough about right clicking. That works across all the Microsoft applications. I highly recommend you do that. I can create a link. So this link could be, I want this to go to our website. So I type in sundogit.com and I hit OK. Now, if I click on this link, boom, you're not going to see it, but it takes me to our website. Awesome. But what I can also do, if I right click on that, I'm going to edit the link now. You see how it's showing me other OneNote notebooks and sections and subpages? I could actually go here and go to marketing and go to Cohen's checklist and hit OK. And now to make it easy to reference other, especially when it's a process, other documents, other OneNote notebooks, other websites, now I can just click on Home Notebook and it takes me right to my marketing team checklist that I have in a completely separate OneNote notebook. And we use those not a ton, but we use those quite a bit when it comes down to it. And I don't know if I'm gonna have time to show you, but it doesn't matter. Imagine we've got a page that has a bunch of links to it, and we do. In fact, I do have that. Here. So here's where I have a link to a bunch of notebooks that I have, right? I'm able to just do that as a quick reference point to find whatever I need, or the sales playbook. Here's where we created links to all the subsections in the sales playbook. So that's really cool. All right. I've thrown a ton at you. We're 32 minutes in. I don't like going over. So at this point, I do any Q&A that you all might have on Microsoft OneNote. And I'd be blown away if there isn't some question, because I know I talk really fast. Josh, is there anything?
Yes, we do have one here from Brian. Can you control F search for text in an embedded image? So I think he was referring to the PDFs or Word docs that you were throwing out.
You guys are always getting so smart. Like, because the last time we did a webinar, I call it a 500 level course on OneNote.
That's up there.
So let's just do it real quick and see. So what he's referring to is, if I went to my test notebook and I went to where I was putting in those documents. Okay, cool. So here he's asking, would I be able to search for content, not only in OneNote if I wanted to search for something, but in the embedded documents within a OneNote page itself. So to give you an example real quick, if you hold down the control key on your keyboard, just hold it down, hit F. This is universal, by the way. It works in Word, Excel, you name it. If you look here in the top right, you're going to see find on page. So I could look for top 10, right? And hit search. And it found 2 of 7. So it's telling me I have found those, 7 of 7, sorry. Oh, this is awesome, Josh. I just found the answer. So ultimately it's telling me it found 7 places where top 10 was used. If I use my arrow, I'm going to click down, it found it within the document itself, because the 10 in my top 10 is in 100%, and it was highlighting it right there. So Brian, yes, it will search within at least the documents. Ooh, that was a document we printed out. Did it actually search within the PDF? All right. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to search for primary. Let's go that route. Primary. So it found 1 of 5. And the reason it found 1 of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Josh or Brian, it does not. It looks like, and now it may depend on, it doesn't do it with PDFs, so it does it in Word documents, but it's not actually searching the embedded document itself. That is a great question though, because Microsoft is doing that more and more and more. So since the feature doesn't look like it's available right now, I would bet at some point you'll be able to search within the embedded documents themselves.
I was honestly surprised that it did the image. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
We do have one more question.
Okay.
So do you have the file saved somewhere? So I believe she's asking the question, are these files coming from someplace else? Which I think, yeah, you had it on a separate, like you had it on your desktop or something.
Oh,
correct?
yeah. But you can, so remember the ribbon here at the top? So let's go to insert. I could insert a file attachment, right? A screen clipping, a picture. You can also, what's really cool is you could record audio or record video. So let's say you had a process that is more, well, you need to elaborate on it, right? And just typing it up isn't going to do it, where you could actually just record a video and be like, okay, when you onboard a new employee, what's really important is make sure you take them down the hallway and have them see Bob, because Bob wants to meet everyone face to face that we hired right away. So just by doing that, I can't do it right now because we're live with my camera on the webinar, but that's a cool way to insert video through your webcam directly into the OneNote notebook. But also going back to the file attachment, if I click on file attachment, I can browse my computer, and here's desktop, right? And here is I had some stuff on there, but we'll do, Cohen's LinkedIn. So this is my picture that I have that I just dragged and dropped onto the desktop, but it's doing it as an attachment. So basically go to insert. You can pick a variety of things. If you want to insert time and date, if I want to do that, because I want to mark when I actually type that, I'm going to go to the top, go to home, go to insert, time and date, and bam, it's right there. And by the way, this ribbon at the top, you notice how it retracts. If you want to keep it there, just click on home or anything. And over on the far right, you're going to see a little thumbnail. Just click on it. And now the ribbon at the top is there no matter what I'm doing or what page I'm in. It's always accessible. Cool. Any other questions?
Nope. I think that was it.
All right. It's going to be last call for questions. You got a sec to type them in. Otherwise, I am going to close up, but feel free to type it in as I am closing it up. I just want to let you know that we do webinars every single solitary month. I had to take a little hiatus for a while, but I'm looking forward to doing a bunch of them in the future. I might tag team some of them with our engineers, depending on the topic. But what I would love to know, and Josh, can you do a poll real quick?
Yeah.
I would love to know if you guys could just respond to the poll real quick. Do you want webinar topics more about Microsoft Office applications and productivity tips like, Outlook and Teams and stuff like that? Or right now, would you really like to know more about cybersecurity? And we can do some on that. Just real quick, it'd be fun to engage you guys, just to give us a little poll, give us a little feedback. And those of you that know us, all of our clients that are on this call, you know how to get a hold of us, and we would love some recommendations on webinar topics from you all, because that's a really great way for us to make sure that we're delivering the maximum amount of value. And remember, we can then forward it on to your team once we've actually done the recording of the webinar itself. And also for our clients, training is always available. So we can do a webinar with your team at any point on a topic specific to what you want. So that's about all I got. Josh, am I missing anything?
Nope.
Oh, there's the, oh, cool.
I have launched the poll. So if you guys could go ahead and throw in your answers.
I really want to vote, but I'm not going to vote.
You are allowed to vote if you would like to vote, Cohen.
Thanks. All right. If you didn't see the poll pop up, move your mouse down to the bottom of your screen, like where the chat was, and just go ahead and hit polls, and you can go ahead and answer. Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate it. Both, and we'll do a little variety. And in fact, since I've got you all here, before you leave, it's really important that you understand right now that the threat landscape out there is crazy. You've probably heard about the pipeline attack that caused gas stations to run out of gas on the East Coast. That was ransomware. You probably heard about JBS, which is the largest meat producer in the world, and the impact that had on all of us, right? So there's a lot of big companies out there that are getting attacked, and they're getting ransomware deployed, which will just bring an organization to its knees. But then also it made the news, but I don't think a lot of people understood what it was. The largest ransomware attack in the history of mankind just happened over the 4th of July weekend. And thousands of businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses were impacted by this. So it's getting real out there, and we all need to be hyper vigilant on it. So that's why we'll be definitely producing some cybersecurity seminars. If your organization, if you're a client of ours and you would like us to do a cybersecurity presentation for your team, just reach out and holler at us, and we're happy to set that up. But then also, if you're not a client of ours and you're concerned about cybersecurity, be sure to reach us. You can call us at 815-991-2400. You can go to our website at www.sundogit.com, or you can email us at yourteam@sundogit.com. All right, Josh, did we get the poll in?
Yep.
Did anyone win?
Poll is in. The overwhelming result was the Microsoft apps, but cybersecurity is also very important. So awesome. We'll consider both.
We'll definitely keep doing, I'm sure Outlook and Microsoft Teams are coming to a webinar near you soon. And without further ado, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you got value from this. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.